Good evening to everyone. On behalf of Satyashoda Collective, I welcome you all. We welcome you all for this online lecture series on Dalit food cultures. Part of this series, we have been organizing a series of lectures by both a senior scholar as well as the emerging scholars across India. This is the fourth lecture of this series, and the series is part of the uh, uh, book, edited book, and 3 months back we called for the chapters or papers for the edited volumes, and we have received very interesting uh, papers across India, and we have reviewed them and selected some of the papers, and now people are writing. So we thought of to have a general open public discussion with the same people who are contributing to this book projects, so that they will get more insights, and also in general it will also help for the common audience to create interest in the domain of Dalit food cultures. So with this objective, the lecture series is started, and today we have with us Amit Kumar from Department of Political Science from University of Allahabad. Amit is working on PhD thesis, particularly on focusing on Pule, his uh, intellectual journey and vision. Amit, he completed his MA from JNU CPS, Center for Political Studies, and he's working and actively engaging with the academic discourses. He published couple of writings. One, The Politics of Representation and Social Justice, a special reference to scheduled caste communities in India. Second, The Global Contestation for Power, India and China. And third one is India's challenges, China's challenges to India's interest and analysis. And also he worked on mainstream feminism and the Pasmanda women and analysis. So he's engaging and writing. And today's topic is going to speak on the new extraction of Dalit food culture from stigma to capitalist commodity. So it will be more interesting how the food cultures once upon a time, Dalits engaged and experienced, consumed, how it, over a period of time began to change its track and its consumption. So it will be more interesting. The lecture will be recorded, and we will upload it later. And we are on Facebook Live, and people are also watching. And the format of the presentation will be speaking. Amit Kumar will be speaking for 40 to 45 minutes. Then we will have a question answers, and then we will conclude. Thank you very much. Over to Amit Kumar.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind introduction and invitation too. It is my pleasure and privilege to that I am going to present my work in front of you. So, as we have seen in previous talk, our speaker get us familiarized with experiences and histories about Dalit food culture. Therefore, my job is to construct a theoretical foundation so that it has a sort of clear vision or a kind of platform where further construction can take place. Because when I go through the literature regarding Dalit food culture, I certainly found any theoretical work on that. Though theorizing is a very difficult task, especially when it comes to food culture of any community. So before going to propose my arguments, let's see the a set of things uh, presented on the screen. Just look at the image. Just clearly watch the image, and you will notice that on the left side you have certain set of commodities, and on the right side you have set of commodities. So, what do you think about those things that are depicted on the left side, such as tulsi, people tree, cow, prasad, Ganga water, and other side there is neem tree, moringa tree, groundwater well, dry fruits laddu, goat, and I think buffalo is there. So just imagine this image. The objects that are presented on the left side give us a sense of emotion, feeling, and values, while on the right side presented objects are more or less neutral. Why this kind of thinking take place in our mind? Why certain things, when we see certain things, it connect us emotionally, and why we see certain things, it become neutral for us? To answer these queries, Arjun Appadurai in his book Life of Social Things propose a beautiful idea. He argues that the meaning the meaning or validity of a commodity the meaning or validity of a community does not depend only on its utility. Rather, it is derived from social, cultural, and religious attachment. This is why the image depicted on the left side uh, produce a certain kind of emotion. So I am applying these Appadurai's argument on Dalit food and expressing there is not a single problem in which kind of whatever Dalit were eating, the problem lies in validation that requires validated socio-culture backup. So Appadurai's arguments become very important to understand Dalit food culture. So so my first argument of my work is that ki epistemology of food to be validated requires a cultural and religious backup. I am repeating my first argument. Epistemology of food to be validated requires a social, cultural, and religious backup. But question emerges how the process of validations take place. Who is entitled to make a decision that these sorts of thing would be validated? So this to answer this question, Jyotirao Phule, in his book Tirtya Ratna, argues you can say present a Foucauldian kind of notion before the Foucault. So it's become very important how certain things would be validated, how it takes place. Phule argues that the function of a particular things or function of a particular entity or function of particular things is not decided by itself. Rather, it derives from politics of knowledge. Those who control the politics of knowledge also controls the function of entity. So validation comes from politics of knowledge, and this is why historically Dalit people were deprived from politics of knowledge, and their social culture tradition always seen with a lot of escapism. So my second, so this was my first argument. My second argument is that scarcity of food resources or access to food is a central problem of Dalit food culture. I am repeating my second argument. Scarcity of food resources or access to food is central problem of Dalit food culture. However, they still invented a sophisticated food knowledge system that was based on zero waste technique, a complete storage system, including medicinal angle, nutritional properties, and combination of veg and non-veg too. So there is a general assumption in masses that Dalit food culture is only limited to meat eating, but they have they have they have combination of veg and non-veg diet. Though I am not claiming that Dalit food culture is very scientific, but in their own understanding, they identified some food that they use in a particular situation. And this angle becomes very important because uh, our society is evolving toward a scientific temperamism. So we can't claim that a particular community, a particular culture was scientific. So I'm not claiming that Dalit food culture was scientific, but in their own understanding, they identified some food that they use in a particular situation. So this argument, my second argument, is based on an in-depth interview with 85-year-old Dalit peoples from a district of Uttar Pradesh called Lucknow. So why I'm saying that Dalit food culture is a kind of a food knowledge system, because it includes multiple categories such as medicinal angle. So if someone is getting sick, they like there is a disease called TB. We also call it tuberculosis. If I'm saying that it is not a completely scientific, but they have their own kind of understanding. Whenever a person is suffering from TB, they go to pond, lakes, canal, and extract some snail, जिसको हम नॉर्मल भाषा में घोंघा बोलते हैं, वो उस घोंघा को लाते थे, उसको उबालते थे, उसका जो स्किन है हटाते थे, और उसको जो टीबी का मरीज होता था उसको देते थे वो. ऑन द सेम लाइन एक जो जंगली कबूतर होता है वो उसका अंडा निकालते थे, और कोई भी अगर व्यक्ति सफरिंग फ्रॉम जॉन्डिस एंड दे प्रोवाइड देम. एंड द सेम लाइन ड्रम स्टिंग, जैसे मोरिंगा कहते हैं, वो भी अगर कोई पर्सन फिजिकली बहुत कमजोर है तो वो उसके लिए यूज करते थे. तो दिस इज अ मेडिसिनल angle of Dalit food culture. I'm not claiming that it is completely scientific, but still their own kind of understanding, they have this kind of understanding. Again, about Dalit food culture is storage system. To store their grains, they rely on three things. First is kutli. Kutli is a term, especially in ईस्टर्न उत्तर प्रदेश. तो इसमें क्या होता है कि वो लोग किसी ऐसे पॉन्ड्स या लेक से एक अलग तरह की काली मिट्टी लाते हैं, और उसमें जो भूसा होता है या फिर ड्राइड ग्रास होते हैं उसको मिक्स करते हैं, और एक ड्रम की तरफ सेप की तरह एक बड़ा सा ऐसा ड्रम बनाते हैं जिसमें वो फर्दर ग्रेन्स को स्टोर करते हैं. और वो वो जो ड्रम होता है वो irrespective of season, like a rainy season or there is a winter, that protects grains from outer touch. And the second thing, like whenever harvesting takes place, like जैसे जैसे हमारे यहाँ उसको बोलते हैं भूसा बोलते हैं, तो क्या करते थे, भूसा का ऐसे स्टोरेज रखते थे, और भूसे में एक प्लास्टिक का बैग लेके उसमें ग्रेन्स को इकट्ठा करके भूसे में डाल देते थे, और वो उसको सीजन बाय सीजन प्रोटेक्ट करता था. और ऐसे मतलब छोटे अगर डेली प्रैक्टिसेस के लिए अगर वो यूज कर रहे हैं तो छोटे छोटे मिट्टी के बर्तन बनाते थे. सो दिस इज अ स्टोरेज सिस्टम ऑफ दलित फूड कल्चर. when it comes to a nutritional angle, they eat fishes, pork, even bone marrow. They make a kind of soup from bone marrow. There are also millets. There is a zero waste technique, like they they did not eat only like main parts of meat, rather they also eat bones, intestine, stomach. They make leather from animals' skins. So this is a zero waste technique in Dalit food culture. When we apply it, zero waste technique to vegetarian diet, some recipes are like babra. babra में क्या होता था कि whenever राइस जो बच जाता था उसमें उसमें दलित कम्युनिटी के लोग स्पेशली ये जो सर्वे है वो लखनऊ रीजन का, उसमें दलित पीपल क्या करते थे कि लहसुन मिर्चा की चटनी बना के बचे हुए चावल में वो मिक्स करके खाते थे, तो उसको वो लोग बबरा बोलते थे. देयर इज आल्सो अ डाइट सुखंडी. सुखंडी क्या होता था कि इफ अगर अपर कास्ट कम्युनिटी में अगर पोटैटो की हार्वेस्टिंग हो रही है तो देयर आर सम rotten parts of potatoes that were thrown in the field. So Dalit people, they used to collect them and they get dry into sunlight, and after some times they use some dish called sukhandi curry. तो sukhandi curry सूखे हुए आलू की बनाई जाती थी. Sometimes एक्सेसिव मीट को लाइक मटन हो गया या फिर बफ हो गया या फिर पोर्क की बना हो गया, तो उसको ड्राई करते थे धूप में और बाद में उसको लेटर यूज करते थे. A lot of recipes are made from those ingredients that are easily available in nature, and like karma is a kind of a grass that is extracted from the ponds canal. Bathua is same kind of things that is easily available in the fields. सेरुखी इज अ काइंड ऑफ उसको बहुत ऐसे रीजनल लैंग्वेज में बेर्रा बोलते हैं. बेर्रा की जड़ से निकाला जाता था ये, और इसको सुखा के इसकी करी बनाई जाती थी. So if you notice that Dalit food culture is there is a scarcity. Irrespective of scarcity, their recipes are more rely on natural things that are easily available in nature. For non-veg, they have pork, beef, mutton, chicken, fish. So this is my argument that though I am not claiming Dalit food culture is very scientific, but I am arguing that irrespective of scarcity, Dalit food culture has a kind of food knowledge system that includes multiple angles like nutrition aspect, veg non-veg combination, zero waste technique, complete rely on nature. These kind of millets are there that are resilient to climate change. These are kind of thing. So this is my second argument. My third argument is that before going to on third argument, I would request to Devasis to please turn on this image. Present second image, Devasis. Am I audible, sir?
Hello.
1 minute.
Yeah, please move the slide.
Before going to my third argument, let's look this image. There is a restaurant which is looking very modern from outside. But when you see the interior of this building, it is crafted like a village appearance. Just think why there is a need to craft a village like appearance in the middle cities. Also think about these days coachings offering Mahashivratri offer, 50% off, Diwali offer, and so on. Just think about. My third argument is related to this kind of analogy. In the same line, think about the handi mutton and kullad. If in our history, non-veg eating was exclusively linked to Dalit community, then how the recipes of handi mutton chicken would have been invented? and how it is traveled to restaurant from traditional dishes of Bihar to till now everywhere. Just think about it. And the third portion of this image we shows that kullad is produced by machine. Just think about those communities whose occupations was uh, to manufacture this kullad, how the means of production has been changing, how the capitalism is intervening in our society. To explain this, I am using two theories. The first theory is cultural branding and cool hunting, given by Naomi Kalin in his book No Logo. And the second one is cultural cooling by Richard Peterson. Let's go one by one. Naomi's argue in his book No Logo, big companies take ideas and style from small marginalized group and turn them into products to sell. She says company watch young people, minority communities, and underground groups to find what's look new, cool, or rebellious. This process is sometimes called cool hunting. These styles, like special types of clothing, music, language, or protest symbols, often begin as a way for people to express their identity or resist mainstream society. But companies remove these styles from their original meaning and use them in a advertising and branding. They then produce then large quantities and sell them around the world. What once saw resistance or difference becomes something you can buy in a store. So it is a kind of a cultural branding that multinational companies, even capitalism, there is tactics like if you go through the David Harvey's argues, David Harvey argues that capitalism needs a new kind of production, a new kind of system by which he can gain its profit. Like yesterday, there was article that by Appadurai itself, and he was arguing that capitalism now shifting his control from labor to emotions, psychology through AI, and it may lead its profit in a huge chunk. Because David Harvey argues that capitalism needs new kind of things to control and maximize its profit. Moreover, she also Naomi also argues that when this happens, the original rebellious meanings become weaker. This is a kind of a token representation. Instead of stopping resistance, companies turn it into a market product. In this way, even rebellions become a brand. So subcultures do not stay outside capitalism. Capitalism uses them to make profit. But how this process takes place is explained by Richard Peterson. Richard Peterson explained this process by his idea cultural cooling. He argues that this process of making a commodity which is considered as impure or inferior is included in mainstream culture by a concept called cultural cooling, by erasing the social memory of a particular community. Its social memory erased by layering and manipulation. Therefore, by using two theories on Dalit food culture, my third argument is Dalit food culture, especially pork, buff, millet, has become a capitalist commodity by erasing its social memory. Why I'm arguing that? Dalit food culture, especially pork, buff, millet, has become a capitalist commodity by erasing a social memory. For this argument, I pick up a city called Gurugram, I visited online through websites, through restaurant menus. I I never visited Gurgaon, but through online I see their websites, their menus, and something kind of things, which is considered Gurgaon, which is considered considered to be a highly expensive city. And I listed a healthy amount of restaurant which serve pork. More or similar, the way Dalit people were cooking this pork, but these restaurants in their menu do not have any referencing to its social memory. The methodology of making the pork is somehow less or more equal, but they are not mentioning anything about its social memory. And the same patterns also applies with Amazon. If you search on Amazon, uh, uh, if you search on Amazon, there is a two kind of products. The first one is dried meat and liquid form of animal fats. You can easily find on these two products on Amazon. The irony is that they mention its nutrient composition, but not about the social memory of it. Why this is taking place? Because capitalism capitalism runs on profit. To make profit, social social memory to be erased is very necessary. So so very necessary. The idea is that very necessary. The market setup of capitalism extract monetary value from Dalit foods, culture, and food practices while leaving caste hierarchy. So my there I'm concluding my argument. My first argument was uh, epistemology of foods to be validated requires some social, cultural, religious backup. And my second argument was uh, Dalit food culture. Although I'm not claiming it was very scientific food culture, but it has its own kind of categories like a combination of diet, a combination of veg and non-veg, medicinal properties, nutritional properties, and zero waste on based on zero waste technique. They had some kind of storage system to procure their grains. And my third argument is that capitalism uh, making Dalit food as a capitalist commodity, with erasing its social memory to gain maximum profit from Dalit culture. So these are my three arguments, and I hope it is clear. That's all from my side. Am I audible?
Yeah, dear Amit, you are very audible. And,
Anand, you
thanks.
moderate the discussion.
Yeah. Thanks, sir. I'll take over. So, it's a good. Whatever the points you have raised, it was very brief but very insightful and enlightening. I hope every audience present here must enjoy this thing. But while dealing with this, I have a question in mind. Can you briefly talk about the time period that you were looking into your research paper?
Uh, Please repeat, sir.
Is there any time frame that you are weaving your argument around? In which time frame you are dealing
Yes,
all
sir.
these argument? Is it based on some particular period or over the history you're talking about?
I'm basically referring from over the history because my like when I'm listing the restaurant in Gurgaon, and before 1 month ago I listed and think about how the history could be connected to present time, and to argue about Dalit food culture as a food knowledge system, I am preferring over the history. Like when I introduce two peoples and some kind of observation, I think
Mhm.
the changes society is witnessing, it's changing the Dalit food culture due to it may be to stigma or some well-beingness, you can say. But it is when I am arguing second argument, it is over the history that I am observing. And when I say when capitalism is interacting with Dalit food culture, it's a nowadays story, you can say, everywhere.
Uh, you are mentioning that you have just pursued this Gurgaon case through digital ethnography. You have not visited
Mm.
this Gurgaon ever. So yeah, it is good,
Yes,
but
sir.
I have a question regarding this. When you are dealing with the you have read the first argument, that is validation of certain particular commodity is needed a kind of cultural branding kind of thing. That you mentioned that politics
Cultural,
of knowledge.
socio-cultural backup, politics of knowledge. Yes,
Yeah. So this politics of knowledge is deeply connected with this. And when
yes,
you are
sir.
dealing with there is another French critic called Baudrillard, who has dealt with the question of simulation or
Okay, sir.
hyper reality thing. So according to his argument, there is no reality existing in this world. Rather, whatever we are looking at as a real thing, it is far from reality, and it is just a kind of simulation or copyright of the real image. So when you are dealing with this
Yes, sir.
validation, you are arguing that it needs a kind of socio-cultural backup. So from
Yes,
where
sir.
this socio-cultural, from where or what particular framework is working behind to to decide this socio-cultural backup, and who is the controller of these particular frame or network of validation and socio, who is creating this socio-cultural backup, and what was the reason behind
Yes,
it?
sir. Okay. Okay, sir. I'm getting your point, sir. Uh, I can also answer this question, but let me use the Phule idea of Phule, how Phule responded. He responded better than me, so I am using his argument. Let's think about gender. Uh, nowadays, gender politics could be seen everywhere. Gender assassin could be seen everywhere. Females are fighting for their rights. How it take place? Foulis argues that it is only due to because female are participating in the politics of knowledge. Their representation are in the academia, knowledge formation, uh, civil organizations, civil societies, political parties. So politics of knowledge is a kind of knowledge formation where certain elite people, or you can say educated people, formulate some kind of knowledge. Sometimes it also derives from our ancient literature, like our religious text also. But at the same time, religious texts are also constructed on some kind of ideology. So Fule argues that the participation in the politics of knowledge is very required to deconstruct the the validation or kind of socio-cultural backup. So participation in the politics of knowledge is very necessary.
Yeah, I think there this politics of representation plays the crucial role.
Yes, sir.
Whatever is being
If
represented in
if if
media and
if let's assume that four five peoples are making a certain kind of policy. If there will be not a single woman in this group, how it is very 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 kind of you can say very obvious that they will they will neglect more or less neglect the concern or agency of women.
Yeah, exactly. So it's great. Good to hear all your argument. I'm happy with this. So if there is any question from audience side, please raise your hand and put up your questions.
Nobody. Amit, if you want to share anything other than what you presented, you are free to do that. If you want to add anything around your paper in general or from the experiences from your field work that you are doing.
Yes, sir. Yes, I would like to share some important thing. The first thing that I noticed that regarding the question of homogeneity of Dalit, like heterogeneity of Dalit, like as Ambedkar argued that the uh, caste is a graded hierarchy. So when it comes to food culture is also different within the Dalit community. Like the area where I surveyed or I interviewed, there were two community. One is Pasi, and second is a community called particularly Chamar. So both comes under scheduled caste, but there is a huge gap in their food practices. So how one could theorize this by tagging Dalit food culture? This is a central problem of theorizing Dalit food culture. At the same time, my argument is also that in society, every group, even a homogenized group, has a kind of differences that we can we have to like assume that they are more or less equal because theorization needs some kind of equal base. So this is a first contradiction I noticed during my field visit. The second the second is that food culture is polluted due to caste system. But I during my interview with people, I noticed that they argue that due to food culture, due to food culture, their caste is polluted. It is not caste. The general understanding about masses that I'm telling you that they think that it is due to food their caste is get polluted, not because the caste by which food is polluting. So this two irony that I notice in my fieldwork.
Could you elaborate the second point that because of food pollution there is a caste pollution argument? Is there any example did you come across? How do they explain this?
Okay, sir. So there is a Parsi community, and they usually don't eat. As you can see, they don't eat occasionally or daily basis meat. But at the same time, community that Kalchamar, they weekly or any public function, they eat meat. So both comes under Dalit community, but their foods habits are very different, and this is why Parsi communities sometimes sometimes we cannot say that only upper caste harass Dalit people or some kind of exploitation takes place between upper caste and Dalit community. There's within the Dalit community, harassment is taking place on the name of food. Like Pasi committees are arguing that कि ये तो बाहर का खाते हैं, जानवर खाते हैं, ये खाते हैं, वो खाते हैं. So this is a difference. The difference regarding in between those committees regarding the meat eating, like the area that I visited, Pasi committees, party committee was not. You can say let's tell me an absolute statement. They are not eating meat, but at the same time, this Chamar committee is eating meat, and both comes under scheduled caste. Still, Pasi committee is harassing the Dalit committee. So this is all from my side, sir.
Yeah, any question from the audience side, or we'll conclude this session now?
Sir, I
Hello.
have. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. I have a question regarding methodology. Like if someone from the community, like he or she can be from a tribal community or scheduled caste community, and can be a OBC, and he want to write an article regarding discrimination related to food, Dalit food culture, and she or he has a life experience, then how she or he will include in the writing money, and that is the thing I haven't understand how to include these things in my writing. So if you can suggest me anything, or that will be helpful to me.
So you are talking about two things. The first thing, who is entitled to represent the Dalit food culture or Dalit experience? I am right. Am I right?
Yes, yes.
So this is a long debate, and it has been discussed by very good academician. One is Gopal Guru, and another is Sundar Sarokai. So you can refers to the correct mirror by Gopal Guru. So he argues that like he argues that experience, like if I am not a Dalit and I am representing Dalit, Gopal Guru argues that it is a epistemological charity because you can't replace experience. So he argues that it is epistemological charity, but Gopal Guru or other scholars like Sarmila Rege have their own argument that if only a scholar from particular committee is entitled to represent their concerns, then it is a kind of identity politics that bifurcate or that separate society on the name of identity. But before beyond this, there is scholar Spivak, Gayatri Spivak. She introduced the idea of epistemic violence. She says that if you are well educated, you are well trained, you are academician, you are good academician, you are good storyteller, it doesn't mean that you are entitled to represent those people who are uneducated. It is kind of epistemic violence. So this debate is very you know, this debate could be seen in academia also. So this is a kind of debate that I have not any kind of clear answer who is entitled to represent. But I would say that experience provides authenticity. And the second regarding the methodology, Like Dalit food culture don't have any written documents to construct a theory or kind of things. It is totally based on oral history. So the problem with oral history is that it is not same at different places. Like the food culture of Eastern Uttar Pradesh is different from uh, Western Uttar Pradesh. So it is kind of a problem. But Gopal Gurus argue that uh, committees those are in power. They have a written document, but the marginalized committee in every society misses any written document. So it's not a problem with uh, marginalized committee. It is a kind of exploitation. It is a result of caste that that prevents Dalit committee to having a written document. So this is my answer to your question.
Thanks for your elaborative answer, Amit ji. But however,
Yes.
I have also a small suggestion to Susmita. Susmita is asking me the question. So on the question of who is eligible to represent whom, I think we should
Yes, sir. Your
deal with
voice
this
is
on the.
breaking.
So on the question of who is eligible to represent whom, I think we should deal with the question of ethic and emic perspective, especially taken by many sociologists and political thinkers as well. When we deal with this question, who is eligible to represent whom, or the social positionality of a
Sir,
person who is.
I think there is a network problem. Your word is not clear. Uh,
Okay, okay. Let me exit and bring it back. Uh, Hello, am I audible now? Is it clear? Yeah, my voice uh, okay now, or it is still problem? Hello,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hello.
Sir,
Respond.
oh,
So just I wanted to highlight this point that the question of who is the eligible to represent whom, or the social positionality of a contributor to who is thinking or who is expecting to contribute on certain community. The only thing I can say as of now that we should deal with the question of ethic versus emic perspective taken by leading sociologist. If we deal with this question, definitely we'll get some better answer. However, with this Amit elaboration is very good because this question is very open-ended and it needs a long debate. The only problem with this question is that it is directly linked with certain particular community's identity, and identity is a matter of certain ethical questions as well. So when you are going to deal with certain community, you should have a kind of sensitivity towards that particular community or the culture that you're representing, and you deal with this very objectively without having any caste, class, or gender biases. So that is from my side. Yeah.
So, what I have been seen in academia, you can go with anyone like from Partha Chatterjee to any scholars. Uh, what I think in academia, in particularly in humanities, your identity is your ideology. There is nothing kind of neutrality in social sciences. Everything like if you are post-colonialist, you will not rigorously take any stand on caste, or you will always deal with British problems, colonial problems. So identity in academia, I think, is your ideology. So neutrality in social science is very rare.
Yeah, yeah. This is a very tough question to deal with.
Uh,
But
and other people also respond. Anybody? Anybody? No? Okay. So if there are no questions and any observations, we'll go with concluding remarks. I feel, Amit, your presentation good, and you bring more and more examples, field experiences to substantiate your arguments, because the more examples will really help us to uh, see how the ideas are deeply connected with the everyday realities. And the examples that you brought, why restaurants, modern restaurant. I think in civil line there is also a restaurant. It's look like a village setup in Halaba, Prayagraj itself. And people say that no, we are going to a village kind of environment where you will see the traditional food. Not only traditional food, it has to be a combination with the traditional setup in which you are sitting and eating. So it will kind of different kind of experience. uh, there are also restaurants which specifically mention regional regional food, because in Hyderabad there is a restaurant like Rayalaseema Ruchulu. Taste. Ruchulu means taste. There is a region called Rayalaseema, which constitute Kurnool, Chittoor, Kadapa, Anantapur, which has a very specific food practices. So in Hyderabad, there are many restaurants which has a title of Rayalaseema Ruchulu, taste. There are also restaurants like Pandam Kodi, Natukodi chicken. Natukodi. Natukodi means it's a Desi chicken shops. And what I'm trying to bring to you, how this regional food practices are reflected in modern spaces. For example, sweet houses, because you have a Agarwal sweets in Delhi and other places. Agarwal sweets. In Telugu region, we have a sweets called Pullareddy sweets. Pullareddy is a very famous sweets. And Reddy is a community, very dominant land-owning community in Telugu region. It's a politically powerful, land-owning, and this person who came from this Reddy community, Reddy is a caste. So popularized Reddy sweets, Pulla Reddy sweets. Wherever you go in Telugu region, that sweet shop will be there. Name will be there. If another Reddy want to open a sweet shop, he will put a title Bharat Reddy, let us say sweet shop name, but caption will be trained by Pulla Reddy. So how this food is deeply also food business is linked with the caste hegemony in food market, sweet market, Agarwal sweets, Pullareddy sweets. So because there is also a paper, I think Indian Institute of Dalit Studies, they did on sweet shops, how the modern business in cities, metropolitan cities, and in moderate cities, how this food culture, either it is restaurant or sweet shops, all I think has some caste angle, because I remember in Hyderabad, coastal Andhra coastal Andhra people are well known. in running the hotels. If you go to the Hyderabad, you'll find plenty of hotels, small, big, medium size, run by the coastal Andhra people, particularly land owning Kammas, even Reddys, and upper caste. People who have a friend circle, if a person belongs to Kamma caste, if his friends, he will take 10 friends to the breakfast center of their own community people. He will not tell us every time that we are going to this restaurant, but they have so much consciousness, they will go to them. Because ultimately it is also a matter of the price, it matter of the taste. Every individual have in a modern space, but still what I am trying to bring to your attention is how a modern space, restaurant, street shop, and tea stalls and breakfast centers all have a cost network, and it linked with the practice of very food culture, and the idea of pure ghee, pure the purity, pure veg, pure ghee. This the idea of purity, how in modern spaces begin to emerge. Can there be a pure pig curry? Can there be a pure beef curry? I mean, you can't imagine this. Why is that? How modern spaces restrict the very idea of this, while the pure veg, the culture began to be very popularized, accepted, normalized. So that's where the very practice, deep interconnection with the caste, one has to understand in reproducing the hierarchy of food culture and so on. Hopefully your paper will bring a lot of real life experience, fieldwork examples to enrich the paper, improve the paper, and this discussion will help you. Now I invite Deshes to propose vote of thanks.
Let me add one thing, sir.
Ah.
There is a company called Chamar Studio.
Yeah.
It is owned by yes. So at the same time, the other people's erasing the social memory. But when it comes to Chamar Studio, it is going with caste slur. Like they are making chamars, like their title is chamar, and the names of bags that they are making is like jhola, something kind of that. So they comes within the framework of capitalism, but they are not erasing the social memory. They reinforcing their assertion. So this is the two difference. And the other thing that like there is a Agarwal states for upper caste people that is privilege for them. For marginalized communities, it is assertion, and assertion always produce kind of conflict between other communities. So these are my 2 points.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because say, remember when Chandravan Prasad experimented 10 years back. If you Google it, you will get Dalit food. He started a online market. So when he was interviewed, why you are starting Dalit food as a title in a modern spaces? So he said that food is food in whichever name you call, whether people accept or not, whether they go by taste, whether they go by quality or not, it is a challenge to the society to think. Because when you say if there is a hotel with a ready name, but you can't have a ready name. This bag Chamar Studio from Bombay is something to do with the bag and leather works. It is, if it is something to do with the food, you will have a different kind of challenges. Food is a much more delicate, much more sensitive field, because everybody likes a leather belt, whether they have any experience with the leather or not. You need a leather bag, you need a leather belt, you need a leather shoes. But when it comes to work, mm, treating people who are producing the leather, they have a completely different notion. In the domain of food practices, how do Dalis, if we are going to have another lecture on particularly restaurants in modern spaces, do Dalits sustain in modern spaces by running a hotel, or they have to change their name? What is that, their experiences? So we are going to have a very good paper in coming days. It may help us to enrich our discussion. Now I invite Devshish to pour foot of thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. As we know, the paper is very interesting thing, and I congratulate to Amit Kumar for bringing us your insight to us. As a listener, it was very refreshing. You used three arguments, which started from the epistemology of the food, which needs a validation. The second was the scarcity, of how the food resources, irrespective of its a scientific scrutiny, there was things were there and there were practices were there, and the third one, which how the modern age capitalism is appropriating things, and how the erasure of social memory. It is very refreshing to explore the genealogy which you have put forward, and it will be very good as a reader, as a researcher, to read your paper in a fully details. I know that you are still working on this. There are suggestions. So I personally, I hope you will accommodate. With that, I'll thanks to all the people who were from the start were there, and who engaged to the answering session. With that, I add also that key on 21st of February we were having a discussion in our question answer session. Some questions and some conversation happened about how within internal contradiction of Dalit community and caste, certain like your Parsis and Jamaat, their food practices. So in respect of that, we are having on 21st February, Professor a lecture on pigs, porks, and Dalit. We have finalized the guest. The guest will be Professor Vijay Kumar, who is an assistant professor in Miranda House College, Delhi University. He's from a history discipline, so he will explore how he will explore pigs, porks, and Dalits in a historical perspective that happened in colonial North India. So the poster will be sent to the groups. We'll upload the poster on Facebook. The will be live from YouTube, and the lecture will be available from YouTube and Facebook Live. So all the guests will be there. We will be there, and with that, I'll again thanks to Amit Kumar and all the listener, and we'll be meet soon. Thank you so much. We can end the meeting. Thank you so much.